Hi, Teri here from Stamping Magic. Welcome back to my channel. Today's project is this gift box. I've used the Framed Florets stamp set together with the coordinating Framed Florets dies. The box measures 5¼ inches wide, 6 inches long and 3 inches deep. Let's get started. These are all the measurements you need for all the elements required to create this project. So if you're interested in reproducing it, take a screenshot so you can refer to it later. You need 2 pieces of card to make up the box. I've got Melon Mambo for the base and Coastal Cabana for the lid. I'm going to place the base into the Simply scoreboard and I'm going to score at 3 inches on all sides. Then I'll place the lid into the Simply scoreboard and I'm going to score at 1¼ inches on all sides. The cutting required is pretty much the same on both pieces. On each corner of the base you have a scored square. I'm going to convert these to tabs. To do that, I'm going to cut up the vertical score line to the horizontal. This separates that corner tab. And then I'm going to make a small slanted cut on each side of it. Now, because this is a large piece of card, I'm going to rotate the cardstock before repeating for the next corner. So I'm cutting up, well, I'm actually cutting just to the left of that score line. So when I do the slanted cut, it removes the score line. The sole purpose of the slanted cuts is to ensure that you don't get little bits of card sticking up where you don't want to see them. It just ensures for a better quality finish. On the lid section you also have small scored squares on each corner. So again, I'm going to make tabs of these. So I'm cutting just to the left of that score line as I did before making slanted cuts on either side of that new tab. Now, because this is a smaller piece of card, I'm not rotating until I've done the second tab. To be honest, it doesn't really matter what direction your tabs face. I like to do it this way for smaller pieces and rotate each time for the larger pieces of cardstock. If the size of the tabs mean that they will overlap when they're placed into position, then I would always rotate each time after cutting. I can now fold on each of the scored lines and burnish them with my bone folder. I can now put both the base and the lid together. And to do that, I'm going to add glue to one corner tab in turn and then position it onto the adjacent side section. Now, when you position each one, you want to make sure that the corner remains nice and square. The lid should fit nice and snugly, but you shouldn't get any buckling in on the sides. I have 3 pieces of card here to decorate the lid of the box. Now the Coastal Cabana and the basic white mats are the same size. The Melon Mambo mat is just a bit bigger. Now I've marked the center points on the Coastal Cabana mat. So you want to draw your line on the short side at 2 3/8 of an inch or 6 centimeters. On the long side it's at 2 3/4 inches or 7 centimeters. I've already gone ahead and used the Framed Florets dies to die cut some silver foil pieces. So one of the large sprays and then one of each of the leaves. Now I'll also need these 2 oval dies for my Coastal Cabana mat. Drawing the pencil lines halfway through the sides of the Coastal Cabana mat means that it's much easier to centre the die on the mat. The first thing you want to do is just flip the die over and make sure that the hearts are up the right way. The vertical centre line should go straight through that top heart, and it should go in between the 2 hearts on the bottom of the die. Now on the sides, so the horizontal centre line, the bottom of the hearts should sit on the line. Now if you position it like so, then your die should be centred. But once I've secured the die with some low tack tape, I will check it with my ruler just to make sure that the borders on the sides and the top and the bottom are more or less equal. They don't have to be exact. No one's going to notice if it's a little bit off. Before adding the centre die, I'm going to erase the pencil lines that will be covered by that die. Because the die has embossing incorporated in it, it's difficult to remove the lines once you've cut it. Okay, so when you place this die, you want to make sure that the gap all the way round is more or less even. Okay, don't pay attention to the little holes in the die because they are not in the exact centre at the top, the bottom and the sides. Again, I'm securing it with some low tack tape and then I can run it through my die cutting machine. And once it's cut, you can remove the dies from your plate. Now if you're lucky, the cardstock has all stuck to your cutting plate. If you're using an old plate with lots of scratches, it'll tend to do this. But the important thing is that you don't lose any of those little hearts. So make sure you've got them all. This piece I'll use later on as a template, so I can place all the hearts on the top of my box. I can now remove the frame that I've created and I'll add some mini dimensionals to the back of this ready for later on. Now I want to place all the hearts in the same position onto the white card, so I'm going to use the Coastal Cabana mat as a template for this. I'm going to secure it onto the white card using some temporary or removable adhesive. And because I cut them the same size, it's just a matter of lining up the edges and then pressing down to get that glue to take. I'm going to work on a small section of hearts at a time, and I'm just adding a tiny dot of glue to the centre of the heart. You don't want too much glue on there because it will seep out underneath the edges. Once the glue's been added, you can pick up the individual hearts and add them through the template. I tend to use tweezers for this because my hearts are quite, well, they're fairly well stuck onto my plate. But if all your hearts came away loose, then you could use your take your pick tool to pick them up and place them. But basically all you need to do is pick up a heart and press it through the template. Now periodically, as I do a section, I will lift the edges of the Coastal Cabana mat just to make sure that all the hearts have been stuck onto the basic white mat underneath. Okay, you want it so when you lift the template away, all the hearts remain in place. I can now separate the two mats, and if I've got any glue residue left on the basic white mat, that can easily be removed using an adhesive remover. I'm now going to emboss this mat, and this will further secure those hearts onto the cardstock using the Timber embossing folder. The basic white mat can now be positioned onto the Melon Mambo mat. Now I've already gone ahead and added mini dimensionals to the back of the frame, and I've removed the backings, so this can be placed into the centre of the heart oval. This is the Framed Florets stamp set, and I'm just using this floral image today. I'm stamping the image onto a scrap of basic white card, and I'm using Memento Tuxedo black ink. This image will be die cut using one of the outline dies from the Framed Florets die set. And that's my gift box complete. I think it's very pretty. I love these colours together. And the box is a really good size. Now, of course, I had to make a coordinating card to go with it. The sentiment comes from the same stamp set. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this project. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notifications bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. Bye for now.